Welcome back, everybody, to Behind the Lava Lava. I'm your host, T, joined by Fatu, JP, and Tan. We'll continue our conversation dealing with the military. You heard us previously speaking on our thoughts, prior to joining and the reason why we joined. Now we're going to talk a little bit on the perks of joining the military in case there's some of you out there who thought about joining but don't really know. Let me go ahead and start this off with JP. What are some perks that you've experienced while joining the military?
So going into military, you only know of what they tell you at the recruiting office. You know how they give you like the little tags and stuff. It's like, what do you want? Pick 3. And it's like money, this and that, travel. But they don't really tell you everything, like all the good and bad that comes when you're actually serving. So after having gone through the military and then getting out, I believe, so nothing against going to college, but I believe just joining the military helps set that foundation. You could always do college after. And the good thing about that is if you do decide to go to college, they'll pay for it. They'll pay you to go to college. You utilize your GI Bill post 9/11, and that's what I'm doing. That's what Tan's been doing. T, I'm pretty sure you did that. I know for sure Fatu's never done post 9/11, but it's where it's called Yellow Ribbon Schools. It's all these schools that work with like the VA and stuff like that. So like veterans and stuff like that, where they take your GI Bill, your post 9/11, and depending on where you go to school at, they go off of a sergeant with dependent BAH, I believe so. So like I was in Cali and I was with the DeVry University utilizing my post 9/11. So you have to be considered a full student to get the full BAH. So I was taking one on site and then one online course, and they were paying me $3,000 a month. And it wasn't like classes I really needed. It was just like bullcrap classes I signed up for just so I could get the money. That's just one of the many perks the military offers. Along with that, you get a VA loan. We just bought a house using our VA loan, but it didn't really help us out because the market's crazy. So back in the day, VA loan was awesome because then you didn't have to put down any down payment. Because normally when you take out a mortgage loan, you would have to put down 3 to 5%, I believe, of whatever amount you were taking out. But with the VA loan, you didn't have to put down any down payment. But with the housing market now, it doesn't matter. VA or not VA or FHA, at some point you have to put down money and you have to put in a competitive offer to even get a house. The other perks, I wouldn't necessarily say a perk, but if you did serve in the military and you got hurt, you could put that like on your records and stuff and like make your claims and stuff like that. So when you do get out of the military, they pay you for it. So if you served your time, knees are bad, lower back, there's a rating system that the VA uses to figure out what amount to pay you for the rest of your life, tax-free.
Disability.
Yeah, so your disability check that you get every month for the rest of your life. And also to go along with that rating, so there's different perks that comes with different rating. So the higher the rating, the more stuff you get. So for example, like 100%, I know they get like tax exempt when it comes to like paying taxes on like mortgages and stuff like that, or going to, what's that place where you go to DMV? I know some states, if you're 100%, you don't have to pay any of those fees. So I wouldn't say it's a good thing, but it is a good thing. Like a lot of the people I serve with didn't deploy, but they still, like, you still get hurt because being in the Marine Corps, it was such a, I don't want to say a hostile environment, but it was such a tough and rough environment. Like people got hurt, like nonstop training, nonstop field ops, hikes, battalion runs. It was all sorts of stuff that eventually your body's going to give in. So all that stuff is, when you put it together and you do all your package, submit your claim when you get out, and whatever rating they give you, Now it kind of acts as a second income. If you get out, you get a job. Now you have that second income coming in, your disability to help you out. So they pay you to go to college. If you get hurt, they'll pay you for the rest of your life. You get the VA loan, depending on what ratings. You get a bunch of other perks, and then just the whole experience of meeting different cultures, traveling, and and I think the biggest takeaway from this is you have, so like you go into MOS, and that MOS can translate to pretty much whatever job you're applying for. It all has to do with the wording. So now, not only when you get out, you could go to college, they'll pay you for it, but you have this resume, so to speak. Because when you sign that contract, you're literally signed 4 years. So you have 4 years of work experience, which is pretty hard for a lot of people. Because a lot of people graduate high school, they go to college, and then they'll have their degree. A lot of people would rather have people with experience, and that's where the military kind of helps set that foundation for you. Now you're walking into an interview with 4 years of experience under your belt, and along with that, like you could have been taking classes when you were in. Now you have some college courses, and you're currently going to college. So it looks really good on paper when you're looking for a really good job. I feel, well, that's what I feel like the perks I got from the military.
Heck yeah, that GI Bill. But just make sure you're going to class and passing it, or else you'll end up like my situation where I didn't go to class and then I'm still getting paid and I didn't say nothing. And then, yeah, they got me. So they garnished all my tax returns for a little while until I paid back what I owed. But yeah, those are excellent points. What about you, Tan? Anything you noticed as far as perks?
Going back on the claims, if you haven't filed your claims and you're out, please make sure to file your claims. You will never know what you will get. And one huge perk, if you're from American Samoa or from Swains Islands, is the pathway to U.S. citizenship. A lot of people, especially civilians, they have to pay up to $800 just to file their citizenship paperwork. But for you in the military, you can do it while you're in or you're out. It's free. I know for me, the only thing that I had to pay for my U.S. citizenship was the filing fee, which was, I don't remember, I might be wrong. I think it was 40 or 60, but it's easier for you to get your U.S. citizenship without paying out of pocket. You don't want to waste $800 just to become a U.S. citizenship, right? After you've served X amount of years. You serve your country, you should be a citizen if you want to. You don't have to be a U.S. citizen, but there are some benefits of being a U.S. citizen, especially when it comes to careers. Because some jobs, they don't accept those who don't have full citizenship, especially jobs that require you to have top secret clearances. And when you become officer in the U.S. military, you need to be a full citizen. The main perk that I liked was traveling. I've done a lot of sea deployments, and I was able to travel to countries like Singapore, Philippines, Thailand. I traveled to South Korea. These countries, I've traveled to them, and I enjoyed my time. I leave. They call it when you're the ship docks at the Liberty port, and all these seamen and Marines get out, they have fun on the ports. So that was my memorable time, was when I was traveling. I met TJP and Fatu in Okinawa in Japan, and we had a good time. We traveled, we made a lot of mistakes, and they were good mistakes. Because through your mistakes, you gain the experience and you're able to live life better than the way you were in the past, better than you were yesterday. Another thing was camaraderie. You forge lifelong friendships with A lot of people. The military is diverse, and I still keep in contact with some people who I've served with in the Marine Corps, and we're good friends. Another reason, if you're from American Samoa, is the pay. American Samoa poverty rate there is high. You know, they're making $4 and something, maybe $5 in Starkist. That's you can do better. We can do better by using opportunities like the military. And we don't always have to go the athletic way, because if you go the athletic way and you get injured, then what? That's when you have to utilize your experience and your college degree if you have one. The military is very similar to the Samoan culture in terms of the way that we're brought up. We're brought up strict with discipline, and you will find that in the military. You will learn respect is there. The rank structure, people, you'll learn a lot of things. You will find that you can easily adapt well in the military, especially us Samoans, because you know why? We're warriors, right? We're a warrior race. That's what they said.
I just want to touch on that mentality, the warrior mentality. All that went out the window when me and T were in boot camp, because I almost got sent back home. I ended up punching the guide in the throat.
Shout out to Saeed.
shout out to Saeed. Sorry for socking you in the throat. But yeah,
they had him lined up facing the wall, hands behind his back, blanket with all his gear on top of it.
Yeah, so they put me in the front quarterdeck, man. And I ain't gonna lie, man, I was sitting Indian style, I was crying. Because this was my one chance to get off the island and do something good for myself. And I messed it up because I got pretty angry because he was going to put me on fire watch again. And that's that Samoan mentality, man. It's just like, oh, you want a piece of me? I'm Samoan. So, and that's why I say all that stuff goes out the window, man. When you're out there, you got to learn to control your emotions and stuff like that. I'm not gonna lie, I sat there Indian style facing the wall, and I was bawling my eyes out, man, because I didn't want to go back home. I don't want to be, because it would be really embarrassing and a big disappointment to my family that I joined this badass branch and now I'm getting sent home because I decided to punch another recruit. I was I was pretty happy that they gave me another chance, but after they gave me that second chance, I had fire watch till I graduated, which sucked, but it was also pretty awesome because I got to mess with everybody that I hated until I graduated.
Yeah, I think we were all little moipis in a boot camp, but I'm talking about once you hit the fleet and you have years of experience, probably your last year, probably when you're training for McMap, when you're going for that higher belt, when you're playing sports with all your Palangi friends and you run them over in football. I'm talking about the aspects of us being tough.
No, yeah. So yeah, I agree. I'm just saying, don't let your anger get the best of you, where you do something that'll ruin your career, and then it's just, well, it puts you in a really bad situation. But like, yeah, I've seen a bunch of badass Samoans, man. And shout out to all the Usos I served with. Mose Kitiona. Mose and Lisa took us in when we were in Japan. They're kind of like mom and dad to us. So it was mostly like big brother Mose and Lisa. They took us in. Manu, same thing when we came to Cali.
Oh, and what was the Uso Till and his wife.
Was he in the army? Or...
No, he was in the Marine.
Oh yeah, Till. Rona.
Yeah, the one we went to his house for a barbecue.
Oh, that's your Langi. Was he in?
No, that was the Air Force guy. Yeah,
that was the Air Force guy.
Yeah, I remember.
I need to find him on Facebook, man. That dude was pretty awesome.
And that's your cousin.
Yeah, but then we also met a bunch of other Samoans, man, that were out there like putting us Samoans like up there. Like you had Bob Lingo, who's a machine gunner. He's done a bunch of badass stuff. Dude's probably got like 15 deployments. Biggest Samoan I've ever seen, man. Dude looked like Hulk when he walked in when I first met him. But then you've seen like that Samoan lady over at Granger. She retired as a mass sergeant. She worked with Opitaya. So it's just like as you're going through the Marine Corps, when we walk through the museum and stuff like that, like how Tam was talking about that warrior mentality, you saw like the Samoan Marine Battalion. And then you saw these great Marines that have gone before us and all the stuff they've done. I know we had Samoans in like recon. A lot of Samoans who were grunts done badass stuff. So all these guys, when I was in, like I was trying to emulate these guys. It's like, dang, because they were always talking about Samoans and Marine. Yeah, you guys are big and bad, but they were also saying a lot of good stuff, like very humble and just don't get them mad. So that's kind of like it gave me a big head. I already got a big head, but it made it even bigger because I'm like, dang, I want to be one of those guys. So that's why when I got to my first duty station, I went all out. We did the Bushido challenge.
Bushido.
Yeah, man, like all my PFTs, CFTs, always had 300s. My highest PFT was like 285. Could never get a 300. Some reason I could never run an 18-mile 3 or 18-minute 3 mile. But like just that warrior mentality Tam was talking about. We went out there, we had pride and everything. Because that's something that came about as we were going through boot camp. Because I didn't know what I was getting myself into. But once I was in boot camp, I had to make a name for myself. And I saw these great Samoans that have gone before me, and I was trying to get there, be like them. So kind of motivated me, you know.
Fatu, what about you, man? Speak to the young generation, those who were thinking about joining. What are some of the good things they can look forward to, and also if you got cons in being part of the military?
Okay. All right. When I joined those JP and Prez, they hit up all the good stuff. But for me personally, the only con that I had, it's the same con that I tell, when I first got out and I worked at the airport, these young guys, they're good and they're like working at the airport. I was like, man, have you ever thought about joining the military? The only con is you can't smoke weed. That was it. That was the only con that I had personally. That was it. But everything else is a pro. That was the only con that I told these young guys at the airport. Like, bro, the only thing is we have to pass a drug test every month.
I think the one of the two biggest perks, I think why Fatu loved why he joined the military and just being a veteran now, is the military discount. And then free pancakes on Veterans Day.
Oh, yeah, the free food on Veterans Day. Definitely a huge perk.
Yeah. So, another thing is, if you're trying to decide whether you want to join the military, look at it long term. If you take the ASVAB, you score high, which you can do. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't do it. You can score high. You can retake it again to get a higher score. There are other opportunities for you. I'm not saying anything bad about the grunts or supply, or because I know JB was supply. Not JB, you were supply, huh? Nothing bad against supply.
Office. He knows how to read.
Yeah,
that guy.
The S shop. But the skills that you pick up getting jobs like maintenance, right? Aviation, logistics, which is supply, logistics. Those skills you can carry on into your career when you leave the military. And if you get a disability, you get some points when you're trying to apply for a government job. You get like 5, 10, 15 points, which helps a little with getting you through the first process of application. Being a military veteran, it helps you out a lot. I don't know about the Marine Corps now, but I do hear complaints if you stay in for a very long time. When people start hating their lives, the people that I know, I'm not going to mention their names, but they start hating their lives because they had to do recruiting duty and what do you call those things?
DI, B-billets.
Yeah, B-billets. You don't have to be a lifer. You can get out and get paid more. So look at it from a long-term perspective. You're only going to suffer for a few years and then make it big the next
I wouldn't say suffer, man. So like if high school kids watching this podcast right now is either go to college or join the military. The biggest thing is no college debt. You could go college route if you got a scholarship, definitely no college debt. But if you decide to take out a loan or have to pay out of pocket and stuff like that, biggest one is take out a loan and then have to pay for college. That's gonna hang with you for the rest of your life until you pay it off. If you go the military route, you now if you just do your contract and then you get out, decide to go to school, not only do you have work experience for the ample amount of time, the post 9/11 pays you to go to college. And then whenever you get your bachelor's, your master's, you have no debt, only money in your bank account. Helps you buy a house and stuff like that. If you decide to stay in, it's not a bad thing. Being a lifer is not a bad thing. That whole transition from going military to civilian was super scary. So I'm not sure if it's because a lot of people are scared because that's all they know is the military. But being a lifer is not a bad thing. If you're good at being a Marine, man, stay in, because a number of Samoans are going to keep coming in, and they need these people up at the higher ups to look up to, and for like advice and stuff like that. So it's good that we have lifers, but it's also good that we have people that go in there and then decide it's not for them, and then they get out and do bigger, better things outside of the military. But whatever route you choose, it's all up to you and what you make of it. But I just feel like coming from Samoa, if you got scholarships and stuff like that, go for it, man. Go for it. But if you don't have a plan, I believe you should go military, because it helps open up like a number of options while you're in. Instead of you just sitting at home trying to conjure up a plan, at least you're in the military for 4 years. And during that time, you could kind of figure out, okay, this might be for me, this might not be for me. But at the same time, you're gaining experience, which you could put down in paper and on your resume and stuff like that. And then if you do decide to get out, whatever you did in the military, all the good stuff that you learned from the military, you could apply that to like the civilian side and let me help you on the long run.
Let me throw a curveball. We're all fathers and daughters here. What would you guys advise your daughters? What would you warn her of if she wanted to join the military?
Oh, yes. I would tell them go join the Air Force, because I don't see it as very physically demanding like the Marine Corps. I pushed my sister to join the Air Force because the Army is overrated, and I can talk smack because my brothers are in the Army. But yeah, I would push my daughters to join the military if they want to, because I know that they would gain a lot of experience, they would gain qualities, leadership, a lot of good work ethics.
I would say don't join the Army. The Army sucks because my brother's in the Army. Don't join the Navy. The Navy sucks too because my sister's in the Navy. Definitely don't join the Marine Corps. Marine Corps sucks times 100. Definitely go Air Force, because the Air Force are super spoiled. I've seen their barracks, the E1s, the E3. They got their own rooms with a kitchen. You know, we didn't have that.
It's not a room. They had an apartment. Come on now, correct yourself.
Yeah, Air Force is super spoiled. They get hazard pay for working with Marines. When we were in Japan, they got gold cards straight off the bat. They had maids to clean their rooms. Their chow halls were nicer. It was just all around a happy, beautiful place. And it seemed like a very, very happy and beautiful place to work at.
Yeah,
so I would say join
paradise.
Air Force.
It was paradise for them.
Yeah.
There's a reason why they're called the Chair Force, not the Air Force.
Yeah, and we can talk smack because
we should put that as the header for this. Join the Air Force.
Something very interesting. I am an airman because I work on an Air Force base, and because the commander told me on there that I'm an airman. So I am Airman Michael Tan.
Airman that hung around with a lot of seamen, huh? So what does that make you? What does that make you? A Marine background, aka airman, hung around with a lot of seamen?
Just a regular civilian now. You don't have to put me labels on me.
Amphibious. Amphibious. What about you, Fatu? What would you advise your daughter if she wanted to join?
Nah, I'm like these white folks. I don't want my kids to join the military. You can go to school if you have a scholarship. If not, you can stay home. Daddy will take care of you guys. It's all right. It's okay. I'll just go work a job. Nah, just kidding. No, they can join the military. Just definitely not the Army or Marine Corps. They can go Navy if they want. But the military is like a second option. If you don't have a scholarship, yeah, you join the military.
Would you guys advise your daughters that they're also strong and independent, and that there's a dime a dozen men in that military? Don't fall for the first one with a pretty face and a nice body. You don't need them.
Yeah,
Put you first.
Don't marry another military member. Marry a civilian. Because that's one of the cons for being in the military, especially if you're deployed. It's a lot of stress for relationships and families. Especially duty station, you don't have control of where you're getting placed at. When you're starting off, you have no control of where you're going to be stationed, your duty station.
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing is find out what you really want to do in life, and then figure out what MOS you want to get into. So like if you want to be a dentist, Navy, they got awesome programs. You can sign up, go into that specific MOS, and then now you have 4 years under your belt. And then you also, during your time, you're networking and you make all connections with all these different people, and you're on base. So you could always get out and come back as a civilian and make more money. So it's all about networking, figuring out what you want to do based on what you're currently doing in the military.
Oh, and if you're in the Navy, you can work with the Marines. There are Navy folks who work with the Marines depending on what job you have.
Yeah, so that's a huge perk for sure, is the networking. Whether it's your fellow service people or whether you get to sort of mingle with the higher rank people and get in that network, get your foot in that door, or even contractors. Man, some of those contractors are making bank, and they're looking for people to grow their business. So that's definitely huge. But experience so far seems like the biggest perk for all of us, life experience. Also at the same time, it's a con because there were some horrible things that we all have been through. But I think it's very valuable as far as establishing that foundation, as you two have spoken on, and building a solid work ethic, and also being able to recognize shadiness that you see. You're able to read in between the lines and the BS some people are trying to throw your way. Because of what we've been through in the military, we can read right through it and see it and anticipate the next move and get ahead of things in life. Is there anything anybody else has left in the chamber?
So far I've only given my cons on on the military, but because they mostly got all the pros. Because like what Dosha JP said, connections. What Tan said, experience. And what T said, read between the lines, like know how to read people, because those all are useful when you want to do something else. But other than that, a lot of cons. Nope, a lot of pros and a few cons. So just think about it.
So here's a tip that I learned when I was in the military. Have some, I don't care what common sense, because there's different kind of common sense, but have some common sense. Fake it till you make it. That's how you're gonna survive in the military, especially if you're trying to be a very good leader, right? You need some common sense, because you don't need to be smart to survive in this world. You just need to be able to identify problems and tackle them.
Or you could avoid all that and just join the Air Force, because the Air Force is paradise. They'll spoil the crap out of you. They'll treat you like how you're supposed to get treated as an adult.
Juice bars in the gym.
Yeah. Y'all need hey, Prez, you need to contact the recruiting office for the Air Force. Use a clip from our video.
One more thing. There's a new branch. The Space Force.
Yeah, that's right.
Is it really established though?
Yes. Yeah. It's a real thing now.
So take that into consideration.
And to all the airmen's out there, all you Air Force people out there, I hate you guys with a passion. I really do hate you guys a lot. And I hope you guys, on your way to work, you have a flat tire and you're late for formation, which they probably won't chew you out because it's the Air Force.
Oh, they're probably working remote, so they don't have to show up.
Oh, yeah. That's probably just working from home. They don't have to go in because they're Air Force. So, yeah.
Hey, but more police join the Air Force and make it a tougher branch. Like, oh, shout out, what's his name? Sergeant Major Masani from back in Oki. Was it Sergeant Major?
Yeah, no, it was not a sergeant. It was like some other word and then ends with the major. I'm like,
but he was a E9 though, right? Shout out to him and his family. Hope they're doing well. And that, I guess, the objective here, or the moral of today's discussion, is just join the Air Force, no matter what we said. If there's anything you take away from this, join the Air Force. It's a different landscape out there. The best adapted one will be the Air Force. If you're going into anything else with expectations, keep them low. Just join the Air Force. I was just joking on that other part. Don't take it serious. All right, like, subscribe, comment. Thank you for joining us. See you next time.